So, welcome to this week 1 lectures. Let us look at the evolving of marketing. It is not that marketing has come all of a sudden, it was there even much earlier before it gained the name of marketing. Just to give you an example, suppose let us say you are an individual who has become very hungry, but you know how to make food by yourself. So, one of the alternative option that is available to you is to produce your own food, that is make your own food. This is called self production. Suppose you are not able to produce your own food, you see some other person having food, you are a very strong man, that person may be not a very strong person. What can you do? You can coerce him to part with food. This is called coercion. Now, suppose the reverse happens, that is you are a weak person, you desperately want to have food, the other person is a strong person having food, then what can you do? You can beg him to give you some food. This is called supplication. Now, you do not want to do either of this coercion or supplication, and you do not know how to produce your own food. Now, what could be the other process that you can think of? You can go to a right royal method, that is called exchange. You can approach the other person and say, look, you have got food, I have got in return for your food this money, can we change this food to this money? This is called exchange. So, this exchange happens to be one of the 4 alternative options that is available to an individual. So, he has got 4 options, one is self production, coercion, supplication, then the 4th being exchange. So, this exchange happens to be a better and a right royal option. Okay. What are the conditions for this exchange? The conditions for this exchange is there are 2 parties involved, each party has something of value to the other, that is he can offer something of value to the other party. Then each party is capable of communication and delivery, that is he can communicate with the other person and also deliver whatever product is required by the other person. Now, with all this exchange may not take place, because the 4th condition of exchange is that each party is free to accept or reject the offer of the other. So, you may be thinking that the other person might be interested in your product, but at the end of this process of communicating to him, he may say, I am not interested in your product, what you are offering. So, this is the 4th option, this is the 4th condition of the exchange process, that is each party is free to accept or reject the offer of the other. Now, if you look at a market, what is a market? This market can be looked at as an arena for potential exchanges. Kindly note this terminology. This terminology is called potential exchange, that is there is a potential for the exchange to take place, need not necessarily take place. Okay. So, the exchange need not necessarily take place. So, markets if you see worldwide, they serve as an arena for potential exchange, but most of the times the exchange process will not take place. So, a marketer has to be prepared for this eventuality that the exchange may or may not take place. Okay. So, if you look at the present day fiercely competitive market, this becomes even more obvious. So, when suppliers approach a consumer and the consumer has a lot of basket from which the same product is available from different suppliers, he would like to evaluate the product of the different suppliers, then he will zero in on one particular supplier and then he may go in for the process of exchange. So, all the other suppliers are blanked out. Okay. So, this is where markets are heading towards now. You can see many of the retail markets. If you go to a place like Big Bazaar, you can see so many things on offer. Everything appears to be interesting when you see it for the first time. So, when you look at it more and more in depth, you may take a decision, yes, it is interesting, but I am not going in for this offer. Okay. You may decide against going in for the offer. So, this is where markets are heading towards now. So, in other words, the buyer in the Indian market is having lot of options in the present day scenario. So, it is no longer a supplier's market, it is a market where the buyers have a lot of choice. They can choose from a large variety of offerings, and from this large variety of offerings the buyer can zero in on that particular product which he thinks is most suited for him. So, when we look at what is a product, this product is something which is capable of satisfying a want. So, product is something that is viewed as capable of satisfying a want. So, we looked at this person who is a hungry man. What is that which is going to satisfy him? Food is going to satisfy his hunger. Now, in the offering of the food itself, there may be variety of foods which the consumer right now can have and say, I will have this offer 1 or offer 2 or offer 3, this is more suitable to me, like that. So, this becomes what is called a product offering. This product offering to satisfy the needs of the consumer. So, when we look at all this, how can we define marketing formally? If you look at this marketing can be defined formally in this manner. The top, that is where you see it is a social and managerial process by which individuals and groups obtain what they need and want through creating and exchanging products and value with customers. Kindly note at the terminology, it is a social process. Why? What is this social process? Because people are involved in this process of marketing. So, for marketing to take place, you require people, that is, there should be at least 2 parties in an exchange process, there may be more number of parties also. It is also a managerial process. What is this managerial process? Why it is a managerial process? Because as a consumer you have to take the decision whether you are going in for the product or not going in for the product. So, in other words, decision making is involved. So, it is a social and a managerial process by which individuals and groups obtain what they need and want. There are two terms which are placed here. One is need, another is want. What does it mean? Need may be something basic, that is you require that. Want is something above this. Okay. You wanted a four-wheeler, you can have a basic four-wheeler without any automatic options, that is satisfying your need. Now, when you looked at the other person having automatic options of windows closing, remote locking, all those types of things, you may like to graduate from this need to having those options. So, whatever earlier was want for you, it may become need. So, the needs and wants many times are getting addressed according to the situation and the affordability of the consumer. So, a basic model of computer you may want to be the need, that is in the present day circumstances, but the party might want, I would like to have advanced options of different programs, different calculations, different settings which are required. So, you are going into the next level. That next level is where you say, I want all these types of offerings on my computer. So, these individuals and groups obtain what they need and want through creating and exchanging products and value with customers. So, when you are looking for higher options, automatically the value of the product which is going to be offered to you will also be more. And if you can afford to have that, your need and wants go through an interchange process. That is, whatever was your want earlier, it may become your need. Okay. Some years back, when computer was really not there as an offer, this computer was a want. Now, what is the present day scenario? Computer has become a need. Your little son or daughter may like to use that computer, whether it is an iPad or whatever, and that may be used in his or her class by the teachers also for imparting education. So, whatever was a want earlier, that is you did not want to have that, now as the time has progressed, that is in our terminology, as the environment has changed, this want has become a need. Okay. So, earlier when mobility was not all that significant, you could walk to your workplace. Now, if you see the present day scenario, you are covering a lot of distance to reach your workplace. So, mobility becomes extremely important. So, you may use your own car, you may use your bus, or you may use a metro or your suburban rail, all these things. So, earlier scenario what was a want now has become a need. You should have all these things, that is the options of going by a bus or a suburban train or a metro to your workplace. So, you may say my house will be about 20 kilometers away from the workplace. I shuttle to the workplace through these different options. I come to the metro station by a bus. From the metro station I catch the metro, and reach that destination, again from that destination I reach that workplace again by another bus. So, all these options are made available to the consumer right now. Okay. This is one formal method of defining marketing. Now, suppose I want to simplify this definition of marketing. Earlier I gave you this 4-line definition, I want to simplify it further. So, I can look at marketing as a human activity. Kindly note that all this activity being performed by humans only, directed at satisfying needs and wants through the exchange process. So, human activity directed at satisfying needs and wants through exchange process. We looked at what is exchange. Exchange is one of the 4 alternative options that is available to an individual. We looked at a person who is hungry, he has got these 4 options to exercise, that is he can produce his own food, or he can, if he is a very strong person, make that weak person, the other person, to part with food. If he is a weak person and the other person is strong, he can beg him to give food. He does not want to do any of this, he can go into the exchange process saying that I will give you money, give food. So, this is where the marketing can be looked at as a human activity directed at satisfying needs and wants through the exchange process. Now, there are different types of marketing, and some of the, if you look at the different types of marketing, you can have a human need type of marketing, or you can have a product type of marketing. An example of a human need type of marketing can be your relaxation market. What is this relaxation market? If you look at the present day scenario, you find that you are tensed through the week, that is you are put to a lot of stress right from the morning up to the night, and then you may during the weekend like to relax. This relaxation may take different forms, like it can be going to a resort, or it can be going to a spa treatment, or it can be going to meditation, or it can be going through yoga, or it can be a combination of all this. So, the result is the providers of this relaxation for the humans, they are looking at the relaxation market, and if you look at the present day ads in different media, whether it is a print media or the visual media, you find lot of advertisements on this relaxation market coming up. These are trying to satisfy the needs of the individual who is stressed up in the workplace. The second type is your product type market. Start from the basic. For an individual, for him to look a little better and also comfortable, he may like to have shoes. Now, the shoes is a very big market in the present day circumstances. You have all types of shoes. It can be a formal shoe, it can be a non-formal shoe, all this coming under the shoes market. So, the third type of market is what is called the demographic market or the youth market. So, if you look at the present day scenario, many of the products which are being sold in the markets, they may be targeting the youth. What could be a good example? a good example can be your two-wheeler market. In the two-wheeler, you may look at the bikes. Bikes are likely to appeal to individuals, and these individuals are going to look at bikes which can zoom at a very high speed. Perhaps they want to exhibit that they can drive at these big speeds. So, if you look at the present day market of for these bikes, you may see these bullets making a lot of noise and also zooming. The present day Indian youth is fond of taking these types of bikes. So, if you are a middle aged person or an aged person, you may not like this sound of this bike, but for this youth, that is the sound which he wants his vehicle to make. Okay. So, this many products which are offered in the present day scenario make an appeal to the youth, whether it is the product which I just mentioned, the bike, or it may be a product, a different product altogether which he may like to use. So, which may appeal to him for a particular age group. So, a person in the 20 to 25 may like a few things, 25 to 30 a few additional things, 30 to 35 a few more additional things like that. We will look at all these things in more detail when we go along. The fourth one is what is called the geographic market. What do you mean by this geographic market? This is best explained by an example. You look at the French market. What is this French market? This French market is well known for creating fashion. So, there is a story which goes round dating to more than perhaps the 1800s or the 1800s period, when women were wearing long skirts. So, the European women, for one of these girls who was wearing this long skirt, this skirt had given way at the bottom, that is, it had got torn at the bottom, and this torn piece of the skirt was in fact more or less sweeping the road on which she was going. French market being what it is, many people observed this torn piece of the skirt. They said, oh, this is a new fashion. The result was the next few days followed by many girls wearing a skirt which is torn at the bottom and which was more or less sweeping the road. Now, if you look at the woman's dress in the market right now, this same piece which was more or less sweeping the road is still there, but it is there at the top of the skirt. So, these are the different types of markets which are available to you, and this is how markets are broadly categorized. That is, it can be a human need market, it can be a product type market, or it can be a demographic market or a geographic market. So, human need market based on the needs of the individual, product type markets based on the products which are offered for the individual, demographic market being characterized by the age of the market, that is the individuals, the geographic market from the regions that is concerned. Okay. We will stop here, we will take up in the next class, that is the next lecture, the next aspects of marketing.